Hi folks, welcome back to the Hoard. So it's about, and I'm breaking things, it's about 2:30, 27.7 degrees Celsius, 52% humidity up here in the garage, and this has been open quite a while. It's about 81.6. Sunday. Welcome to July 12th. So the Hoard's got problems other than knocking over stuff up in this garage. I'll pick that up in a minute. I get troubles in the lower garage. You guys know this thing exists behind the garage door, and you guys know that the garage door cables are broken. So it was kind of to open and close the garage, I would just kind of help the garage door opener lift it and lower it, and it was all working out beautifully until the garage door opener soiled the bed, crapped out, went bad. Yep, I'm screwed. So now I got a wooden garage door. This is a 7x9. So it's a huge garage door. Anyway, each panel has to weigh, I don't know, 40 pounds, 50 pounds. I mean, they're heavy. Between 40 and 50 pounds. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So you got to figure this door, right, has to weigh in at least 250. So to get it raised up this much, I used my ever famous farm jack, and it worked. It got it up here. What I'm going to do is drag the garage door and use this bench to work on it one panel at a time. But basically I got to lower it down, take it apart, and see what I'm going to do with it. To start out, I'm not going to change the rails. I'm just going to leave these for now and see if it works. If it doesn't work, obviously I'm going to have to change those too. You determine if it works or not by where the wheels sit and that stuff, how close you are to the wall so one could put a seal on it or not. I mean, these things are adjustable to some extent, but right, one wants to get this relatively close so it doesn't leak. Anyway, just a quick comment on storage, because though it's only July, I'm beginning to, you know, what storage techniques worked out for the Hoard and which ones didn't. Back here, these were just kind of individual objects covered with tarps or plastic, much like that. Probably okay for the short term, like weeks, months. But if you're talking years, yeah, just look at the mess over there and you can see what's going on with that. Then comes the sleeping cat, right? And the under the deck stuff. Well, you might not believe this, but there's that 3-wheeler under there. I think you can barely see the headlight. So we got that. Then comes the I don't know, tool shed concept. And we got Jack and the Beanstalk. Must have dropped a few beans over there and they took root. So this probably works if you get the bikes in and out of here like regularly, but for storage, not so good. Then we have your swing set with the tarp over it, with the pipe extending it. That actually held up for a few years, but you can kind of see what happened there. Right, the tarp split right down the center, and right now it's got a sunroof. You got the metal just leaning against the shed. That metal came out of the wood, so not a huge investment. Right, you got the various sheds. My camera is showing me an upside down image. I hope it's not doing the same for you guys. Then you got the cattle panels. This actually, with the center support, actually worked out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. For kind of bulk storage. Right, so cattle panels, and I threw a support down the center. I mean, this actually worked out fairly well. Took the snow loads. Once again, cattle panel, center support actually worked out pretty well. The trick with all this crap is to use it and not leave it buried. This is cattle paddle on one end, and the pipes, you can see it kind of, this was able to rock and roll, which screwed it all up. Drive under. Problem with me is I have a tendency to build structures, and when I build the structure, it's already full, and then some. Right, the box, problem with the box is it's only as good as the doors are wide. The garage, this is 24 by 24, but you're also looking at between the cement and the 2 blocks up and the 4 doors, the trusses, the whole bit. I mean, I tied up almost $25,000 up here, and that was a few years ago. You could save some money if you don't go a couple of blocks up, if you don't put down quite as much cement as I did. I went 16 on centers for the walls, 24 for the top. I didn't use flake board anywhere. I used plywood, and I went up a size in plywood. If they wanted, what did they want on top? 5/8. I went 3/4 for the roof, and for the walls they wanted 1/2 inch, and I went 5/8 for the walls. Right, I went oversize for everything, and 25 grand. So if you're thinking of putting together a Hoard, it's a matter of trying to figure out what you're going to do when it comes to storage. Doing it over again, if I wasn't building storage one piece at a time, if I could go back, I probably, picture this gone, right? Instead, before the garage got here, I would have poured a 24 by 24 slab and put up one of those steel carports. You know, they cost about $1,200 plus the concrete. Call it another $1,500. So call it $3,000. For $3,000, I could have had a 24 by 24, and I could have kind of filled the walls in. If I needed to, I'd put a center support in there, because once again, with the carports in the winter, you don't want them to do the rock and roll, because that's what makes them collapse. You know, the carport, it kind of looks like this thing here, except it doesn't have sides, front or back. So that's what I would have done. So that would have been a 24 by 24. And the garage, if I had it to do all over again, I would have gone 24 deep as it is, so 24 between the doors. But, and this is important, I would have gone at least another 6 or 8 foot that way. Why? Because 6 or 8 foot that way, especially with the shelves, would have meant I would have had 24 by 8 times 2. It would have been like another 16 by 24 shed between top and bottom that I could have put a bunch of storage. So I would have done that. I would have also put a little taller peak on the roof, and I would have put a little taller peak on this roof, so it would be easier to walk around up there. I'm short, 5'8", so I could kind of barely walk down the center. Barely, like if there's a nail sticking down a ½ inch as I go by it in the center, it gives me a stripe on my head. So we're talking barely at 5'8", so that's barely 5'8" tall between the floor and the top. So that's what I would have done. Once again, I still would have built the garage, but back here, instead of this whole mess, there would have been a 24 by 24 carport. For those of you who say, yeah, but you would have filled that up with crap too, though that might be true. That might be true. A 24 by 24 is easier to maneuver stuff around on. The concrete floor would have kept things dry. You know, I got somewhat of a nightmare here. And the problem with all this crap is, to take it down, I got to get everything out of it and then take it down and then do it again. And right now I couldn't get a cement mixer back here if I had to. I mean, I could probably back it up real tight against those steps, and then with the chute I could probably get it to about here, but that's not, you know, from here over to there is quite a distance. So it would have it's too late. I can't put the 24 by 24 with a metal building. My thoughts would be, I'd put that up. I probably wouldn't put a permit on it, and if worse came to worse and they said, oh, you got to take it down, I got, I don't know, $1,200 tied up in the metal building. So what do you do? Oh, okay, I'll take it down. But meanwhile, I used it for a bunch of years to store stuff, so no problem. Believe it or not, where I live though, I think carports are one of the few things that they don't torment you for with taxes. I don't know why. They're exempt and everything else is not, but I think it's one of the few things I can skate by without paying taxes on. Alright guys, I have a lot of work to do. I have to completely take apart this garage door. Right? Gotta take it apart before you can put it back in, and we'll see how it all works out. I want to thank all you guys for watching and commenting and subscribing. Remember to keep your feet down, keep your head up. And you know, what happened is the cables broke, and I knew they were frayed, but I didn't do anything about them. So this is my fault. After the cables broke, or when the cables broke, they broke the spring. That their pulley is wound by a torsion spring. So when the spring broke, now it's hard to open and close the door, which put extra wear and tear on the garage door opener, and now the garage door opener is dead. So what started out as, I don't know, $20 worth of springs, and obviously I know how to fix them because I fixed them on that one. What started out as $20 worth of springs now turned into $800 worth of garage doors, plus another couple hundred for the opener. I basically gotta turn myself into a $1,000 problem. I mean, these doors are kind of crap anyway, and we've been talking about replacing them, right? Driving things into them. They're heavy, they don't seal well, they let a lot of cold in. Right, I've been thinking about upgrading them for a while, but once again, I could have upgraded them at a convenient time rather than a time now when stuff's broken and screwed up. So, folks, fix things before you end up in a heap of trouble. Anyway, guys, remember, keep your feet down, keep your head up, Enjoy all your days, even if you have to jack up your garage door. I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing. And we'll catch up with you all soon. Bye now.